The X Factor, God/yeah, ETs, or something else? The search for order. Everyone believes in something. That's why debates about reality, creation, and existence have been going on for centuries. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's just making things up? To stay grounded, I like to ask 3 key questions. Is there order in the world? Is there logic to that order? Can we explain it? Some argue that the universe came from chaos, but science, whether empirical, physics, chemistry, or speculative, anthropology, archaeology, suggests that order exists, even if we don't fully understand it. If the world was purely chaotic, how could structured laws, patterns, and logic emerge? The X Factor. Before answering, let's dismiss the notion that the world was created from pure chaos. Here's why. Science operates under 2 broad categories: empirical methods, physics, astrophysics, quantum mechanics, chemistry, etc., and best guess disciplines, anthropology, archaeology, sociology, etc., with fields like geology, astronomy, and psychology combining aspects of both. The purpose of science is to explain the known and unknown through repeatable processes and conclusions. There has never been a scientific methodology based on chaos. It is, by definition, undefinable and unrepeatable. Those who argue that chaos underlies existence must still account for the order we observe daily. Can anyone truly explain a chaotic method or chaotic order without contradiction? Let's have a thoughtful discussion. I welcome intellectual conversation, but I won't entertain baseless or illogical arguments. Some might ask, who decides what's ridiculous? I do, because endless circular debates over indefensible positions yield no understanding. My goal is to elevate the conversation to an understandable level. I am not on either extreme of this discussion. I don't claim to hold the absolute truth, but like everyone, I have beliefs, experiences, knowledge, and perspectives. I'm willing to defend my views and explore yours. Now, back to the core idea. No matter one's religious or non-religious background, many people believe in something beyond total human comprehension. Some call it Mother Nature, natural selection, karma, intelligent design, or a divine creator. The problem? None of these concepts can be fully explained without invoking another undefined force. Eventually, we all reach the limits of understanding, the X Factor. And that's where the controversy begins. What do we call it? And what do we do about it? The core debate isn't actually about whether an X Factor exists, it's about whether we should worship it and, if so, how. That's a religious question, but I believe that God, my X Factor, and religion are 2 separate issues. Yet, conversations about God inevitably circle back to religious institutions rather than the nature of God itself. My X Factor, God, provides an answer to the unexplainable. But I don't claim to explain or speak for God, nor will I try. Humanity's greatest folly is its obsession with defining the undefinable, comprehending the incomprehensible, and controlling what is said not to exist. It's like trying to fit the Mississippi River into a thimble. And yet, both believers and skeptics continue trying. I haven't had a burning bush moment. I haven't been called to a mountaintop for divine revelation. My prayers for direct answers remain unanswered, at least in the way I expected. Instead, I rely on my dreams, inner self, experiences, lessons, knowledge, reason, logic, and beliefs. Every moment of my life has led me here. Science, at its core, starts with a question. What? How? When? Why? Then the process of discovery begins. Einstein's theory of relativity started with what if? Newton's laws of gravity began with why did? Darwin's theory of natural selection stemmed from how did? Science's role is to explore, theorize, and conclude, but even the greatest scientists sometimes get it wrong. God, UFOs, atheism, we all wonder what makes the most sense. Is the X factor, God/yeah, real? Did extraterrestrials seed life on Earth? Or is there nothing to any of this beyond wishful thinking, deception, emotional weakness, or superstition? The extraterrestrial theory Enki and Enlil brings us to the ancient Sumerians, one of the first known civilizations, and their myths of divine beings, Enki and Enlil, who might offer insights into this very mystery. The role of Enki and Enlil, God/yeah or extraterrestrials? In Sumerian mythology, Enki and Enlil are two of the most powerful deities. Their stories shape some of the earliest recorded beliefs about divine intervention, creation, and cosmic order. Enki, also known as Ea in Akkadian myths, is the god of wisdom, water, and creation. He is often depicted as a benefactor of humanity, bringing knowledge and technology. Some interpretations suggest he was the force behind human advancement, perhaps even our very creation. Enlil is the god of storms, wind, and kingship. He is more authoritarian, enforcing order and deciding the fate of civilizations. Unlike Enki, who assists humankind, Enlil is often portrayed as strict and even destructive, famously sending a great flood to wipe out humanity, an event echoed in later religious texts. These two figures represent contrasting forces, one of wisdom and innovation, the other of control and power. But were they just mythical gods, or could they have been something more? Some researchers, including Erich von Däniken, have speculated that stories of gods like Enki and Enlil might not be purely symbolic but instead based on ancient interactions with extraterrestrial beings. The argument is simple: the Sumerians were remarkably advanced for their time, developing writing, mathematics, and complex architecture seemingly out of nowhere. Ancient texts describe the Anunnaki, a group of powerful deities, as beings who descended from the heavens. Could they have been extraterrestrials rather than spiritual entities? Enki's role as a creator of humanity bears striking similarities to theories of genetic engineering or alien intervention in human evolution. The Anunnaki as ET's theory suggests that early humans might have misunderstood advanced extraterrestrial visitors as gods, interpreting their technology and influence through the lens of mythology. How does this tie to the X factor? The X factor is the great unknown, the force behind existence that we struggle to define. Some call it God/yeah. Others call it fate, nature, or even extraterrestrial influence. The Sumerians gave it names: Enki, Enlil, the Anunnaki. If we accept the possibility that something greater has shaped our world, the next question is, what do we do with that knowledge? Do we worship it? Many religions stem from these early beliefs, evolving over time but retaining similar core themes. Do we study it scientifically? This leads to the ancient astronaut theory and a reconsideration of history. Do we ignore it? Dismissing these ideas outright closes the door to potential discoveries. Whether we see Enki and Enlil as gods, extraterrestrials, or symbolic archetypes, their influence on human thought is undeniable. They are part of a long-standing tradition of seeking answers to life's biggest questions. So, are we alone in the universe? Have we been visited before? Or is this all just myth and metaphor? Maybe the real X factor isn't just what we believe, but why we keep searching. Let's start with atheism. There are no universally known scientific tests for disproving the existence of spiritual things. That means atheism, in its absolute form, is a belief based on faith in the absence of the divine. Many atheists acknowledge the presence of spiritual aspects in life but reject the idea of deity figures. So, in a way, even atheists believe in something beyond the material world, they just refuse to name it. Now, let's consider UFOs. Erich von Däniken's Chariots of the Gods, 1968, presented the theory that extraterrestrials visited ancient civilizations, influencing art, architecture, and technological advancements that seemed impossible for their time. Some view Däniken as a major figure in alternative history, much like Darwin, Hawking, or Einstein in their respective fields. But here's a critical distinction: the UFO community does not claim that extraterrestrials created the universe, the Big Bang, or life itself. They only suggest that ETs may have played a role in early human development. So, what's the difference between extraterrestrials, angels, and demons? How do we recognize one but not the other? Why does one seem plausible while another seems fictional? The key differences between God-centered beliefs and UFO-based theories lie in two fundamental aspects: location. How far up is outer space? Is it within the known universe, or beyond it? Metaphysics, the philosophical study of existence, reality, and the nature of being. Metaphysics attempts to answer, what is there? What is it like? Concepts like prayer, meditation, self-talk, and the law of attraction all fall under metaphysics. Even Däniken does not claim humans should commune with extraterrestrials, only that they may exist. Finally, let's talk about God/yeah. Across the world, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of religious beliefs, each presenting a version of the X factor. There are more belief systems affirming God's existence than denying it. Even Satanists believe in God. After all, without God, there would be no concept of Satan. If there were no divine being, the debate wouldn't exist in the first place. Consider this: if belief in God were merely a passing human construct, why has it persisted across all civilizations for thousands of years? Whether through monotheism or polytheism, humanity has consistently sought meaning in something greater than itself. Notably, God never said, "I am the only God that exists." Instead, he said, "You shall have no other gods before me." This acknowledges the existence of other so-called gods but distinguishes one as supreme. I have no intention of rewriting what has already been written. Many scholars, theologians, and thinkers have presented their cases for and against God, providing evidence, arguments, and personal convictions. I don't claim to be a genius uncovering something new. What I do seek is understanding, to sift through history, theology, philosophy, and science and make sense of it all. With so many people pushing agendas, who is genuinely exploring the questions at hand? Who is engaging in the discussion without ulterior motives? I am upfront about mine, God's love.